So I'm in my office, and before I forget, there is a link below in the description, a questionnaire you can fill out if you want a free consultation with Marvin Daniels and myself. You fill out the questionnaire that link is, and we will give you a free short consultation to help you out. Many of you are going to want a short consultation after watching this video. This video is the kind of subject matter that's sorely needed to be heard by many of you in the law of assumption, law of attraction, SP community, whatever you want to call it. When it comes to romantic relationships, manifesting a specific person or a special person, an SP is hugely popular. It's probably one of the driving forces or primary reasons that Neville Goddard is so popular today in 2024 heading into 2025. It's this idea that, by following the law of assumption, you're going to manifest a specific person, usually back into your life. People usually want to reconnect with a lost partner, but also just to find love. People are lonely and want to find that specific person, and they think following Neville's ideas or the ideas that they hear YouTubers talk about is going to help them do that follow Neville's advice. And today's video is specifically targeted at males. I'm a very liberal, open-minded person, and I am pretty gender inclusive when it comes to this stuff. So when I say male or masculine energy in this video, please understand that, first of all, women watching this will certainly get something from it, and you can be a woman and identify as a woman and feel like you're feminine in many ways and still utilize masculine energy. And it might be helpful to utilize some of the things I talk about in this video. However, generally speaking, for most of you, this advice is going to be most relevant to men watching it, men who are interested in manifesting their specific person. Okay? This is a very masculine-driven video. The energy behind it is very masculine driven, okay? So interpret that as you will. I'm trying to be as politically correct as I can. I'm not politically correct at all when it comes to this stuff. I'm just accurate. So the gist of this, quite simply, is that if you're a man, you should not be following SP advice to get into a romantic relationship or to reconnect with a specific person. You should not be following the traditional standard SP advice of doing robotic affirmations or doing SATs, doing visualization, doing journaling to get your SP back. From a, I guess you could say, masculine, energetic, leading perspective, all of those techniques, which can be wonderful in the right time and place for both males and females, and often are helpful for many women and people in general when they're in a more feminine energy. But all of those popular techniques like affirmations, whether they're affirmations with feeling or more robotic affirmations or SATs, visualizations of all forms, journaling of all forms, from a masculine energetic perspective, broadly speaking, that's some weak ass shit. Just not that good advice. We Marvin and I had our weekly SP Mastermind group call the other night. And when we started doing this group back in July, Marvin was saying, he expected it to be primarily women because he'd worked with, 95% plus women over his 5 or 6 years of doing SP coaching. And, I had done a little bit of SP coaching before July, or, a fair amount compared to most coaches. But in my eyes, a little bit of SP coaching. And I noticed, too, that 80% of clients that came to me for SP issues were women. But I said, because we were two dudes, I said to Marv, listen, if we do this group coaching, and this new program together, I bet you we get some guys. And that has, bared itself out. Right now, our group and our with our group and our immersive private clients, I'd say it's just about 50-50 male female. And one of our male clients, who's been in the group pretty much since the beginning, since July, who has seen a lot of ridiculous, you could say, movement, both professionally and just getting into strange, positive situations in terms of meeting people, both romantically and otherwise. Nonetheless, he was, talking about how he missed his initial specific person. And he was saying that, when you go on YouTube or go on Reddit and read about SP situations, it seems like most of the success stories are from women, and that there's not many male SP success stories. And, had we heard of any, had we worked with clients where it was like, an SP success story where like they affirmed and they got their SP back or whatever. And, Marvin gave some obvious examples. For instance, his example, he manifested his SP back after 5 years, basically, of no contact through doing SATs. Okay. So Marvin's a good example of that. And, we mentioned that it does happen all the time, like the traditional SP success stories. We spoke to a guy, for instance, the other day. We gave a free consultation to someone who, through robotic affirming, a man, he robotically affirmed and he got back together with his SP doing that. So he said, listen, that stuff works, but this person's question in the group was very valid. Does this stuff work as a guy well? Getting your SP back, doing these traditional techniques, right? And I said, no, that's the truth. No, it can work. It can work, but it's not the best thing to do by any means. And the reason that I told him he was probably in this group, what initially attracted him to this group, why I told Marvin that I think we would get a lot of guys that were interested in SP stuff into our group and who would want coaching from us if we did this, is because I, Papa Bear Tim, don't really give SP advice to guys when it comes to meeting a gal or a lady or getting a gal or a lady back. I'm not an SP coach like that. I've worked with many men over the years in more just a traditional counseling and coaching way without these law of assumption concepts in play, really, at least us ever talking about them or using any of the lingo, living in the end, da-da-da. I mean, people would laugh at me if I used some of that lingo. Some of my previous clients who had dating issues, I've used a lot, I've helped a lot of guys who have dating issues before get back with their partner or meet a new woman. And the advice I share, and the majority of the advice I share with guy clients who are in our group now, is not SP advice. It's masculine-driven energy that's authentic and loving and full of integrity and energy that leads. It's dominant energy, you could say. Healthy, dominant energy, assertive energy that provides both space to listen, but also direction for whoever it's being, conveyed to. It's that kind of jazz. You see, generally speaking, if you're a guy, you don't want to be passive to manifest your partner back or to meet a new partner. You want to go get her. Go get her. Lead and initiate and be honest and loving. I was fortunate not to know any of this SP nonsense when I was a young buck on the dating scene. And, I still made so many mistakes and followed so much bullshit advice and, had a lot of rough learning experiences, you could say. But do you know how I met my wife? You think I robotically affirmed or visualized? No. I went up to her in a bar, sober, and spoke to her in a kind, open way. That's what you do. No toys, no gimmicks. Now, you don't have to do that. I don't want you to have to do that unless you like doing that. But I do want you, if you're a guy, to be able to speak to a woman. And even if you feel afraid, to know that you're a good person and that the person you're interested in is probably a good person, and to be able to initiate a conversation and through eye contact and through tonality and through body language, make it clear that you are curious about them and interested in them. And that's the kind of stuff that Marvin and I can help you with. And we can help you take action, 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 and more fucking action. Because that's how you get an SP very easily. If you're a guy, you take appropriate action. And obviously you line up your mindset. You do all the mindset stuff. You do all the self-concept work. That's where Neville Joseph Murphy and all these other great, new thought, law of attraction type of teachers come into play. The mindset stuff. That kind of stuff I do wish I knew about when I was in my 20s. The golden rule. Treat others as you wish to be treated, and you'll be treated well in return. That's huge. But that self-concept work is in the background. That's not how you meet a woman or reconnect with a woman that you've been in a relationship with. Most of the guys that we speak to, they want their SP back, okay? And the advice we give them, the first advice and the best advice we usually give them is go fucking talk to them. Tell them how you feel. Be clear, be open, show that you're vulnerable, but at the same time, show that you are willing to talk and to be assertive, and convey that to them, and then listen, and then lead. If the woman is overwhelmed, be comforting to her. Give her space, but still listen, lead with conviction. If for some reason they won't meet you in person, which is sometimes the case, then you figure out a way to contact them so they will read your message or hear your message via text message, via email, via social media platform, via a friend. But you take action. You take appropriate action. And there might be people watching this and say, oh, I want to live in the end. That's not living in the end. That's taking outward steps. I shouldn't be taking outward steps. Da, 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 da. Do you want to be theoretically right, or do you want to get your fucking girlfriend back? Do you want to get your wife back? Do you want to meet a good, loving person if you're looking for a new relationship? What do you want? Do you want to discuss theory, or do you want to fucking do it? If you want to fucking do it, Marvin and I will help you. If you want to discuss theory, you should not still be watching this video. If you are a guy and you convey your goodness, convey your desire to be with the person that you were in a relationship with, or convey your desire to get to know someone to start a new relationship, and can do that openly and honestly. Again, like I said, through eye contact, through tonality, through body language, through what you say, through listening. you're an attractive guy to a lot of women if you do that, and you will meet a good fit. You will meet a woman that you want to go out with. You will meet an SP. And if one SP doesn't work, then you move on to another one. And this goes for women obviously as well, but again, this video is targeted more towards this masculine energy and leading, because there's too much passivity in the SP community space in general, and particularly when it comes to advice for guys, because guys in general inherently their energy is such where they're more effective usually when they're going out taking action when it comes to this kind of thing. The SP community space is way too passive in general, and most of the coaches for good and or bad tend to be women. You know, there's not a lot of masculine advice you will hear. And the masculine advice that I've seen in this space often is overly masculine and kind of like faux macho, you know. Those guys can, take a hike. I'm telling you how you can actually do it. It's very simple. But simple does not always mean easy, because you have to integrate this advice, and what I'm saying probably sounds pretty scary. It seems a lot easier to just robotically affirm or to visualize or to stay in the fucking sheets under the bed, or under the sheets in bed, and just dream about that dream girl. Dream, dream, dream. That's not how to do it. You can still do sats, you can still do all this stuff, but when push comes to shove, you have to meet the lady. You know? And the thing is, that woman that, you might think it's impossible to meet or to reconnect with, if she's single and she's looking for a relationship, and most women who are single, are looking for a relationship, she's been waiting for somebody just like you who is open, honest, and willing to show that they are vulnerable, but also willing to lead. She's been waiting for that her whole life. She is going to be curious to know you. But she's not going to get to know you unless you make it happen. Because most women, most feminine energy, you could say, is not the kind that's going to initiate that. They might try, they might leave you hints, but they're not going to go out now and say, hey, do you want to get a drink with me? Most women won't do that. It's usually the guy who has to say something like that. And again, there's ways around this. You don't necessarily have to be that overt. But most women respond to a man who is assertive and kind and conveys that they are interested in them. Especially if that guy is practicing the golden rule. So we've had like guys in the group being like, oh, I'm getting old. If it doesn't work out with my SP, I'm over 30. I'm in my early 30s. How could I ever meet a woman? And Marvin and I are like, dude, they're all over the place waiting for you to go up to them and to introduce yourself and be kind and open with them. They're everywhere. And this goes for women, by the way, too. If you're, I don't care what age you are. There's people who are going to be interested in you everywhere if you have this kind of mindset. But notice how I'm not using any lingo like everyone is you pushed out or live in the end or any of that stuff. And, if you know my channel, I know all about that stuff, the lingo and the theory and all that stuff. And again, that theory and lingo has its time and place. But if we're coming from kind of a masculine energy perspective, that time and place is not fucking now. Go get your girl back. Go get your wife back. Go meet a new partner. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle, but at the same time, fucking do it. If you want to, it's okay if you don't really want to too. That's fine. Or if you want to take it slow, no problem. But don't fucking do these gimmicks, like, living in the end with it, da 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 da. Ah, man. I speak to guys and they're like, I'm, trying to manifest my my ex-girlfriend back. She won't talk to me. And it's like, well, have you called her up on the fucking phone? And sometimes they haven't. They haven't done the obvious thing. And then, no contact, instead of it being a couple weeks, no contact, it becomes a couple months, and then it becomes a year, and then it's fucked up. And a lot of people fuck it up. A lot of guys fuck it up by getting into this stupid SP advice about, getting their SP back when they could just take appropriate outer action and get their fucking SP back and then work through the issues that they have. Because this is the thing, as Marvin and I always say, once you get your SP back, then you got to deal with them. And you got to deal with yourself too. You got to deal with your self-concept of being back in a relationship or in a new relationship. That's the real work. But if you're a guy meeting a gal, that's not the real work. That's relatively easy. And it's also relatively easy if you're trying to reconnect with an old SP to figure out, to actually get a gauge of what's going on, if there's a chance this is going to work or not. And then if you get a reading and it seems like it's not going to work, to have the integrity to convey that you love them and that you would really like to be with them. And if they change their mind, you're very, very open to it, but that you respect their feelings and opinion. And if they really feel like they cannot be with you, that you just want the best for them, and that's it. And move on. And not try to manipulate them back into your life through all this fucking law of assumption voodoo, which is not what Neville meant when he talked about using these principles well. Neville would be probably laughing if he heard this stuff today, the stuff that people are using his purported advice to do. And again, most of these law of assumption coaches, let alone the people commenting on the videos, have never read Neville. The majority of them haven't. Papa Bear Tim has. And listen, I ain't shit. No one's shit. I just know what I'm fucking talking about when it comes to this stuff. Like I said, if you think that Marv and I can help you, we'll give you a free consultation. And if you want to join the mastermind or get private coaching from us, great. If you don't, no problem. But if you're a dude and you've got SB issues and you're watching YouTube videos, for Christ's sake, fucking stop watching those videos and schedule a consultation with Marv and I. Stop wasting time on bullshit. So I hope this video was helpful to some of you. I can be reached at info@radicalcounselor.com. Like I said, that questionnaire link, if you want to fill that out, is below in the description. Until next time, be well.